Yo, what's up, jazz guitar friends? Larry Tamanini here. Hey, you just caught me playing through two of my favorite Pat Martino octave displacement licks. You know, it looks a little bit pared down here in a gig simulator, and that's because the fam and I are moving. Hirsch is coming too. We're bringing him and the couch. Anyways, very Italian thing to do. We're only moving about 300 yards away, still going to be in the same neighborhood. But while I was going through all my stuff, I found one of my old Pat Martino books, and it has his chromatic studies in here. Hey, really cool stuff. Pat had a really unique way of integrating these really super cool concepts in a straight ahead jazz guitar setting, right? And I play two of them. One is this is Pat Martino Blueprint. And like I said, if you're like me, I studied with Pat from 1996 to about 2003. I was his roadie. Pat was the center of my world, and I picked up so much from him. This being one of them, his octave displacement ideas, right? So enough of me talking, right? So the first one I played is actually, sounds like an octave displacement lick. I kind of did it a couple different ways that time. I played it ascending all the way from this A up to the E. It's actually a pentatonic scale in disguise. Tricky Pat, right? The note, he's starting on the fifth, and he's going A, B, D, E, F sharp, and then you kind of repeat it backwards, right? 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 Whoa. Right? It's almost like a tongue twister for the guitar. Great way to get your right hand picking accuracy happening too. Some people will be like, well, that's pretty unmusical. How can I use that? That's one of the greatest questions, right? A place I like to sneak that in is on like a rhythm changes. I heard Pat do it on Olio, you know, when he played Olio with just C minor, but play over the bridge, and you can kind of get some cool ideas happening. You know, sometimes when you're playing, especially when you're playing really hard for a long time, you can sort of space out, and it's good to sort of have a couple little tricks to fall back on. I always felt that maybe Pat used this to that effect. You need to sort of do something a little bit interesting, because jazz guitar can be really tricky, especially when you're not using a bunch of pedals. You have to have some different kind of devices to break up the sound, and this certainly is one of those. The other one I played was the first one he talks about in that Blueprint book, and it's another great way to learn your fretboard, because what he's doing is he's starting from E, and he's going all the way down to that E flat, and then he's picking up his D here, and then the D flat. So the way he kind of grouped it was like sort of in fours. And then he picks up the C there, B, B flat, A flat, right? Pretty tricky. Really cool line, really great way to learn your fretboard. And what he would sort of do is to sort of play that chromatically, double chromatic. Really cool idea here. And then you pick it up from the E flat. Again, an awesome way to really learn your fretboard as well, because, you know, you're not just kind of camping out in one area. And again, Pat had all these really great ideas. A lot of them were sort of like visual, really interesting concepts. There was one time where he would hear me maybe doing a sound check or just kind of noodling around, and I used to sort of like play an idea that was essentially, you know, this kind of idea in all different patterns. Something I still do a lot, to be honest, and you know, I'll resolve it to like whatever key I'm in. But I can always remember him coming up to me and he'd be like, hey man, take the steps. And that was, you know, something, a little visual idea that stuck with me and I thought was cool. Anyways, so check it out. two cool Pat Martino octave licks, even though one of them really isn't a complete octave displacement. It's like a tricky pentatonic scale, right? That's really cool. And again, a great way to break up just a basic pentatonic scale. And then the other one, which is much more challenging, you're spreading out all the different notes on the guitar, and he kind of groups them in four. There's always like maybe a little bit of a pattern to what he's doing, but it still really doesn't sound like it. You can hear him use this on Bar Wars a lot. He does it on a couple of the blues there, just really to pretty amazing effect. The ideas that he was playing, I think that was Pat Martino, but we could talk about that another time. Anyways, if you made it this far, he made it this far, I made it this far, hopefully you did too. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Really appreciate all the support. I'll be probably putting up a few more videos in this gig simulator before we get over to the new place. Thanks for hanging out. Bebop, keep swinging.